The fact that Eli Manning, the best quarterback in New York Giants history, even before the merger, is holding the New York Giants hostage. How's everybody doing? It's PR, and I'm back with another video. So this will be the first video in a series of 4 videos talking about what is the biggest roadblock for each of the 4 NFC East teams: the Giants, the Redskins, the Eagles, and the Cowboys. In that order, what is the biggest roadblock stopping them from winning a championship or being a championship contender in the near future? So I will be starting with the Giants because they're probably the juiciest of the teams, and they were last place. So I'll be going from last place to first place from 2018. So we're starting with the Giants. What is the biggest roadblock for the Giants? What is the cow in the middle of the road in India for the Giants? And that is what I've been saying for a long time. The fact that Eli Manning, the best quarterback in New York Giants history, even before the merger, is holding the New York Giants hostage. He's not metaphorically putting a gun to their heads, but he is still holding that organization hostage. See, back in 2011, Eli Manning did something that most quarterbacks in this league have never done. Eli Manning won his second Super Bowl against the New England Patriots. Something that Drew Brees has never done, something that Aaron Rodgers has never done, 2 quarterbacks who most experts would view as being above Eli Manning, and something that Ben Roethlisberger, a guy that is in the AFC, has never done on his way to a Super Bowl. Ben Roethlisberger has never had to go through Tom Brady. Someone has at least had to take Tom Brady out of the equation so that Ben Roethlisberger could be successful. Okay. Eli Manning has been crowned the father of the GOAT. Okay. If you look in Eli Manning's wallet, you have him with a fanny pack and a stroller and a smile on his face. And in the stroller is Tom Brady, the GOAT, the greatest quarterback of my generation and quite possibly all generations. And right next to him, his husband, his partner in crime, is Nick Foles. Yes, Eli Manning and Nick Foles helped make the greatest quarterback in NFL history. They are Tom Brady's dads. Metaphorically, not real, of course. So, 2011, Eli Manning won the Super Bowl. And according to the monkeys at Pro Football Focus, Eli Manning didn't have a good defense. He didn't have a good offensive line, and he didn't have a good running game. Eli Manning powered it through. He took the team, he put them on his shoulders, and they won the Super Bowl with one of the worst records that any team has ever won the Super Bowl. The worst record, 9-7. The Giants were the 4th seed in the NFC. They had to play against 4 teams to win the Super Bowl who had a better record than them. They had to go to the MVP's house, Aaron Rodgers, and beat him at Lambeau Field. Had to go to San Francisco, which was the best defense in the league that year, in my opinion. And they had to face up against the GOAT again in round 2, and Eli Manning won again. Had one of the best seasons he's ever had. I would actually call it the best season he's ever had, even though statistically it is not the best. Almost 5,000 passing yards, around 29 touchdowns, less than 15 interceptions. I don't have the stats right in front of me, so I'm not 100% sure. But that is a great season. And the football gods awarded him with another Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP that I feel like he deserved. That was like 9 years ago. Since then, the New York Giants have had 2 winning records and 1 playoff season. 0 playoff victories. And the only constant on the Giants that was the constant on the Giants back in 2011 is that Eli Manning is still on the team. And the Giants still, to this day, despite his massive decline, still views him as an elite quarterback, still views him as his 2011 self who had throughout all the odds, everything, was able to win a Super Bowl and cement himself as one of the greats, one of the all-time greats. You see, back in 2017 was Eli Manning's worst season. Yeah, even with all the losing seasons, all the 6-10, 7-9 seasons, no playoff seasons, even despite that, he had 2 wins in 2017 at week 10 or something like that. And Tweedledee and Tweedledum, Jerry Reese and Ben McAdoo decided to make a life-changing decision. And that was benching Eli Manning. You see, Eli Manning had a streak of like 210 consecutive games played. And with his benching, that was all over. That was all over. Instead of benching Eli Manning for Davis Webb, who was the young quarterback that the Giants drafted in like the 3rd round, they decided to switch him out with the walking trash can known as Geno Smith. We already know what Geno Smith can do. Okay? He is an average backup. Average to below average backup. And there we were. There it went. And that caused Jerry Reese and Ben McAdoo to get fired. Now, both of these dudes deserve to get fired. Deserved to get fired long ago during the season. Okay? But because the move to bench Eli Manning was so unpopular with the fan base, and so unpopular possibly with members of the organization, that owner John Mara had no other recourse but to fire the guys responsible. Okay? And the week after that, the week after the Geno Smith game with the Oakland Raiders, Eli Manning was starting again. Just like he had been for 212 consecutive games. This caused me to think that no matter what Eli Manning did or what he has done, there's nothing forcing the Giants to bench him. The Giants are comfortable with Eli Manning. Eli Manning has done a lot of great things, but that was a long time ago. That was almost 10 years ago. And it was time for the Giants to move on. Except the Giants gave Eli Manning $23 million in the offseason. And got rid of one of his best offensive weapons. And gave him, the new GM, Dave Gettleman, gave Eli Manning the vote of approval. The belief that Eli Manning can still be the same quarterback that he was in 2011. This gave me to the analogy that the Giants organization does not care about anything besides nostalgia. Eli Manning, he kind of reminds me of that state championship quarterback at a high school. He won 2 straight state titles 10, 11 years ago. And now he's a screw up. Still lives in his mom's basement, gets drunk every night, has a few illegitimate kids, maybe a few ex-wives, has a few DUIs, has been to jail a few times. But instead of the city or the town being like, well, the guy's a screw up and, we shouldn't be talking about him anymore. The town is still like, well, look what he did 10, 11 years ago. We love him. We support him. The Giants actually did something that I thought was smart. The Giants actually drafted a quarterback, Daniel Jones. Now, I'm not going to come out and say that that was a bad move. Was it a reach? Sure, it might have been a reach. But when you want a player on your team, when you have a player that you want to draft, even if you should have drafted him in the 7th round and you drafted him in the 1st round, why not? Why not? If you like the guy, you should draft. If you want to draft a center in the 1st overall pick of the draft, you should be able to do that. A lot of experts thought that this was a dumb pick. Now, he might not pan out. Daniel Jones might not pan out. But the fact of the matter is, they need to replace Eli. They paid Eli Manning $23 million to be kind of like a stopgap quarterback, to be a stand-in quarterback, when Eli Manning really hasn't done anything over the past 8 years. Not that he doesn't deserve the money for what he's been able to do for the franchise, but I'm still very skeptical that the Giants are planning on moving on from Eli Manning. Why? Because they're probably going to start Eli Manning off during the season. And when Daniel Jones is going to play, I don't know. Even when they had Sean Lauletta and they had Davis Webb, the Giants had games where they were losing massively and decided not to play them. And I think the reason is because they have a lot, and I mean a lot, of respect for Eli Manning. Okay? They have a lot of dependence on Eli Manning. They have a lot of loyalty towards Eli Manning. And they don't know how to get rid of him. In my honest opinion, I think Pat Shurmur and David Gettleman are scared, are freaking out about Eli Manning. Because they know that when Tweedledee and Tweedledummer decided to bench Eli Manning, they saw how much trouble those two got into. So my theory, not fact, my theory is that they're too afraid to do it. The problem is that what if Eli Manning goes out all of next season and the Giants go 5-11 again? And they don't play Daniel Jones. Maybe they play him a little bit, but then they go back to Eli. They keep going back to Eli. They keep going back to Eli. What if that happens? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm just saying, what if that happens? Pat Shurmur's fired. And David Gettleman is not too far behind him. The two guys are going to start pointing fingers at each other. That's my feeling. And nobody is going to have the confidence to get rid of Eli. Or to give him the pat on the back and say, it's time to retire, bud. It's your time. Eli Manning will not stop playing until he wants to stop playing. He'll leave when he feels like leaving. And the New York Giants will go along with that. Because as an organization, they don't want to get rid of him. That's my feeling. Daniel Jones, I've heard, has played better in OTAs. Now, I'm not saying that OTAs are the end-all, be-all, but what I am saying is that he's been playing better. I think that they should start Daniel Jones. Again, this has nothing to do with whether I like one guy or the other guy better. But it's obvious, and we've seen it be obvious, that the Giants, as an organization, and as Eli Manning in that organization since 2011 have declined. And it's time to move on. And I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to do it. They think they have a Brett Favre, or they think that they have an Alex Smith, Pat Mahomes situation going on. They don't have that. Okay? Because Alex Smith is like 32. He's not as old as Eli Manning is. So I don't think that the switch is going to happen this year. I think it should happen this year at some point in time. The Browns did with Tyrod Taylor and Baker Mayfield. But I just think that the Giants have so much loyalty in Eli Manning that he's just going to stand there and he's just going to do his thing. And nobody's going to keep him in check because he has earned that right as a future Hall of Famer to be like, I'm the face of the franchise, and when it's my turn to leave, I'm going to leave. It's probably the most selfish thing that Eli Manning has ever done. So that is all I have for this video. I know that it was quite lengthy. I had a lot to say. The next video will be for the Redskins. What is the thing in the way of the Washington Redskins winning a championship or being championship caliber in the near future? That's all I have. Peace.